Good morning, everybody. So today is my son's birthday. Happy birthday, Jawan, in case you're watching. The reason I'm doing this is in case you are watching. The last time I spoke to you last year, we hadn't spoken in years, and you said you wrote to me that you couldn't remember what my voice sounded like. So that kind of sat with me for a long time. And hold on, let me get my charger. Okay, I'm back. Me and the flies are back. Flies are out today again. Anyway, I don't have a script or anything. I'm just kind of winging it here, just going off the top of my head. So, yeah, my son was born June 13th, 1994. I remember today, well, today's really significant for me because I remember everything that I was doing that day. If anybody remembers that O.J. Simpson fiasco started, I think it was like the June 13th. So while I was in the hospital having my son, I believe I was watching that Bronco chase on the news. I'm pretty sure, or I was watching something crazy on the news related to O.J. I remember that for sure. Um, I wanted a son for the first time I knew I was having a child. I wanted a boy, and we all have. I think we all have our preference at first, but at the end of the day, you're just happy to have a healthy baby. But I knew I wanted a son. And with my son in particular, I didn't find out what I was having. All my other kids, I knew that I was, gonna have a girl, because I found out. But with him specifically, I didn't find out what I was having. So I was very, very pleasantly surprised. It was a great experience. I really enjoy being a boy mom, and my son could do no wrong in my eyes, and so I think that's a, one of the stories. So I guess when I was saying that, he told me he couldn't remember my voice or remember what I sounded like. That made me want to start making these videos and putting myself out there more. I mean, there were other reasons, but that wasn't one of the reasons that I wanted to do this. Just in case, you never know what happens. Tomorrow's not promised, and I don't want anybody writing my story or telling my narrative. I want to tell my own story. So this is why I started to be more present um, out there. On top of that, I have other reasons that I'm doing it too, but that was one of the ones. So anyway, yeah, so my son, he could do no wrong in my eyes. All he did was play basketball. He had an imaginary basketball. It would drive me crazy. That was the only thing that would drive me crazy, is that basketball. Because he would run up and down, playing this imaginary basketball. And the amazing thing is that to this day, and he's a grown man now, he still plays basketball, but in a men's league. So I see he still taps into that passion, because it has to be a passion. You're still doing it to this day. And the way I've never seen anybody or anything like that. I mean, he was my first son and my only son, so I don't know if all boys are like that, but it was just crazy. And I remember I would tell him, this is not the playground, sit down, but he wouldn't sit down, and anyways, I love him to death. But anyhow, I'm going to tell a story about something. Well, this is like one of the last things that I remember with when he was still in my life. He came home from school with a paper that said that he was suspended for 3 days. And at the time, I was working. I'm a single mom at this time, and I read the paper and I said, "What happened?" And he told me that, well, they said that he stole a teacher's phone. And so I thought that was crazy. I mean, because my son knew that he couldn't come home with anybody's phone. And, if I had, like, those little spare cell phones around the house back then, I mean, there would be no reason for him to steal a phone. So I thought it was crazy. And when I asked him about it, he said that he found this phone and he was trying to give it back, and they accused him of stealing it. So I said, well, you're not suspended. I got to go to work. So I went with him back to the school with the intent of leaving him at school so I could go to work. Because what's the point of suspending a child for doing something that you say they did that was wrong, and then letting them stay home to have a day off? That's crazy to me. So anyway, I went to the school with him and I said, "What's going on?" He said he didn't do this. And so the principal pulls out this paper and she's like, "Oh, well, he admitted to it." I'm like, "He did." And she's like, "Yeah, he signed the paper." So I said, "Let me see the paper." So she gave me the paper. I read the paper, and it's adult writing. So, somebody wrote a confession. And then you just see my son, my poor son, his barely chicken scratches his name, Jawan. And I was so angry when I saw this. Like, they interrogated my son without me being there, accusing him of stealing his phone. Like, what does he need the phone? So as soon as I saw this paper, I took the paper and I just ripped it to shreds. And the lady, the principal, she lost it. She yelled out, she's like, "Call the police!" And then she went to the door, because I was in her office, and she went to the door and she put her body against the door to lock me and my son in there. And so I grabbed her and I threw her to the side so I could get out. And my son and I, we left and went home. And I remember my son was laughing. He thought the whole thing was hilarious. And I mean, of course, I'm not trying to go to jail. So I went home and anyways, we sorted it out afterwards. I did not, fortunately, nothing bad happened, but they did call the police, of course. But I didn't do anything to the lady. When the police called me, I said, "That lady tried to kidnap me. I had to use force to get out of there." But anyway, so that happened. Um, Years later, when I reconnected with my daughter, his sister, she told me that my son did steal that phone. So, Javon, if you're watching this, and I hope you are, I know when I was doing my other stories about everything that happened, I saw that you had liked one of the posts. I didn't um, go any further. I wanted to let you continue to push the door open if you wanted to come in, because, I don't want to get into all of that, but, I told you how I felt. So I need to know that you're ready for something like that. But, I lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. But yeah, I wanted you to know that your sister told me that you did steal the phone. And so yeah, I almost went to jail for something that he actually did. But I definitely was a boy mom, and I mean, in my heart, I still am. I hope you're having a wonderful day, Jawan. I hope that you watch this. I hope you know that you are loved, have always been loved, and I think about you every day. I love you. Take care. And bye, everybody. I was supposed to bling in chat, but I didn't even get a chance to do that. I just decided to tell this story. Have a good day.